Tonight, Jodi's jury watches video of her for the first time. Would this have changed their minds about her?
My wife, she's got a sixth sense about things, and she says, oh my gosh, she's out there.
What if they'd seen it during the trial? Good evening. My co-host this week is Michelle Ward, criminal psychologist and host of Stalked on Investigation Discovery. And coming up, everybody, we have Tara and Diane, the jurors, the Jodi Arias jurors, are back with us. They will react to video that they have never seen and stories they've never heard. And we'll ask them, would this have changed their position or swayed the jury in their opinion? But first up, with Jodi's second death penalty trial just weeks away, what new issues will factor in? Take a look at this tape.
Samantha said that Travis was the glue to their family. Travis called me. He was really upset. He said his grandmother was ill and frail, and that he didn't know if she was going to make it, because she was the glue to their family. In many ways, my family has also suffered.
I missed my family. I moved away shortly after high school, and I come back to visit, but I realize over the years I've missed out on a lot of things with my little brother and sister.
Their pain is fresh because they only learned about it 2 weeks ago, the moment the verdict was read. My dad, who's here today, was in California, awaiting anxiously in front of the TV. When I was 11 years old, and the slide is backward, I apologize. When I was 11 years old, my little sister, Angela, was born. I won't be at my sister's wedding when she ties the knot next year. My brother, Carl, the boy I grew up with, became a family man. I can't in good conscience ask you to sentence me to death because of them.
You don't have any evidence of recurrent physical fights, do you?
No, just not recurrent physical fights, just the time that she had kicked her mom.
Michelle, you're an expert in psychopathy, and here is somebody we've speculated is a psychopath presenting the story that she would think would make somebody sympathetic, not how she was actually feeling, right?
I felt like she was presenting it for somebody else. Like she was reading the script for somebody else, but her affect, the way she presented herself, it didn't look like her emotions matched what she was saying. It's so disconcerting to watch because here she is fighting for her life, and it's like she's totally disconnected.
But she's talking about a thing that she's learned enough to know that people are emotional about their family,
right? And
therefore that should create some sympathy for her. So
she knows
there
it's
she goes.
Supposed to work. It's supposed to work.
There we go.
Yeah.
Joining us now is investigative journalist and author of the forthcoming Jodi Arias book, Picture Perfect, Shana Hogan. Shana, what are the sources telling you about Travis's family and the next round?
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Drew. In Arizona, as you may know, as well as many other states, the family gets a say in in matters, including whether or not to settle or take a plea. And the family in this case, according to my sources, definitely wants to go ahead and try and get for the death penalty. They feel like they've run this marathon, they've gone this far, and they want to see it through. They want justice for their brother.
Thank you, Shana. Joining us to discuss, attorney and SiriusXM radio host Jenny Hutt, Mark Eiglarsh, attorney at SpeakToMark.com, and Lonnie Coombs, attorney and author of You're Perfect and Other Lies Parents Tell. Mark, if Jodi were to get life in prison, let's say she doesn't get the death penalty, even though the family wants to go after that, is there a chance she could still be paroled?
Well, under the current law, the answer, unfortunately, is yes. However, the judge would decide, assuming she gets life, either life without parole or life with the possibility of parole after 25 years. The chances, in my opinion, of this judge giving her the chance of getting parole is so low, so remote, it approaches almost no real value. Under a new law, which does not apply to Jodi, unfortunately, called Life Means Life, that would change. You'd have to do natural life if you're convicted of premeditated first-degree murder.
But she does not apply to her, right?
Does not, no.
Got it. Now, Jodi's Twitter account has been active again. There's a new tweet. It says, I will be sorry for the rest of my life, probably longer. She signs it me and cites her May 21st statement to the jury. Jenny, I know this drives you insane.
Insane. It drives me bonkers, Dr. Drew. I mean, is she really not just quoting herself, but then quoting herself? Does she really tag it like that? I mean, I don't get it. She's a monster, Dr. Drew. I've had it.
Lonnie, what do you think is going to go down in this follow-up round 2? Do you think we're going to have a long, drawn-out trial again where Jodi gets back up on the stand?
Yeah, well, I do. I think if it goes on, it's going to take a long time, and Jodi is going to take her time, just like she always did. She's not going to change. I don't even know if she knows how to change. But I still think, even though I know the victim's family is saying that they want to go forward with the death penalty, I still think that there is a chance between now and July, when the case actually starts again, that they might decide, look, we've finally pulled back, we are back in our families and our lives, and maybe if we know for sure it's life, without the possibility of parole, but real life, we might consider it. And honestly, I think if Jodi would agree as part of that plea deal to just shut up, no more tweeting, no more videos, no more interviews, no more manifestos, I think that might go a long way to actually bringing the family some comfort,
Lonnie,
because honestly, she's not allowing Travis to rest in peace.
Go ahead,
she's
Mark.
still going after him.
You know, it's, but telling Jodi to somehow stop speaking and stop torturing the victim's family, it's like with my dog, you know, you get a temporary reprieve, like place, and then you walk away, and then she jumps right up to go and bark again. You know, you don't get what you want out of her.
Right, that's absolutely right. I agree with you. I don't know if it's in her, but I do think that if there was some way that someone could talk her into it, that would go a long way, I think, with the victim's family.
I think it would, but I agree with everybody. I don't think it's likely to happen. Thank you, guys. Next up, juror number 6 and juror 17 are back with us for a primetime exclusive. We will show them evidence they never saw during the trial. There they are. Back with my co-host, Michelle Ward. And just a reminder, I know you've been watching on Nancy and Jane, the CCAT murder trial. We're going to get to that in just a second. As I said, we've got a Behavior Bureau standing by to ring in on what is going on there. Joining the two of us are two of Jodi's jurors, Diane Schwartz, who voted for the death penalty for Jodi, and Tara Kelly, an alternate, who would have voted for the death penalty. They are going to react to some video the jury did not see during the trial to see if they think it would have persuaded some of their cohorts to perhaps consider more along the line the way they were thinking. But first, here's a clip from an interview I did with Travis's good friend Chris Hughes. He's telling a story about how creepy Jodi's behavior was. Take a look.
My wife, you know, she's got a sixth sense about things, and she says, oh my gosh, she's out there. And then there's a knock at the door, and it's Jodi. Now, this is in the late hours of the night. She's supposed to be asleep in another bedroom. We continue our conversation. Maybe another 45 minutes to an hour goes by, and my wife gets this feeling again, and she goes, she's out there again. So Travis jumps off the bed, jerks the door open, and there's Jodi Arias with the most frightening, evil, I mean, I've never seen anything like it before.
Tara, we heard a lot of people reporting things like that here on this program, and we have people, other programs that are reporting the same thing. I don't think you guys heard anything like that in the courtroom. Do you think that would have persuaded any of your peers?
You know, I think the stalking evidence, I don't know that was really as big of an issue. You know, I think the 4 that voted for life, you know, they did so because more of the abuse aspect of it than the stalking aspect of it.
Diane, how about you?
I tend to agree with Tara. I think that there was a real concern on the verbal abuse. But having said that, I think you could also look a little bit towards her behaviors and start to see that maybe he indeed was fearful or she was problematic, a little bit more to her personality.
Yeah, you see, that's where we got, listening to the friends and family and everyone talk about what went down, was that, and Mark Eiglar's is standing by, I'm going to have him bring in here in a second, but that we came to understand that verbal abuse was a flurry at the end out of frustration from her behavior. Mark?
Yeah, Diane, I've been dying to ask you this question. So you go back and you're deliberating whether she should live or die. 4 people say, we think it's abuse. I'm imagining then the others are saying, abuse? You mean harsh words for a psycho ex? What was said to that person or persons? And then what was their response in trying to articulate, no, we really think it was abuse, as opposed to just some harsh words for someone?
We didn't have any violence in the jury room at all, but that abuse issue was one of an emotional and verbal. And for those people, they felt very strongly that it had been ongoing for some period of time. It was not something that I felt. And I said, even if it was just a short period of time, or it was a few text messages in a group of text messages. I don't think we've seen a full picture, but remember, it was their own personal decision.
Michelle, one of the things we didn't hear from on the stand was anybody testifying about psychopathy. Do you think that was a missed opportunity? People could have understood that goal-directed behavior she was involved in?
I don't know. I think it's kind of a catch-22 because we also say those people are deficient. They're incapable of understanding right from wrong. They're incapable of feeling these proper emotions. So then are we kind of giving her a pass? I mean, can we convict her of a crime if she doesn't understand the difference between right and wrong, per se? So I don't know. I think that's a slippery slope. But I want to ask these lovely ladies something. We were frustrated watching all these stalking stuff and all this creepy behavior by Jodi. We got to watch it. You guys didn't get to see it. But did it come across? Did her nastiness telegraph to you?
Tara, you first.
I think so. I mean, to me, I thought that there was enough proof between some of the witnesses who were briefly able to say something about Jodi stalking Travis. And I do feel that even some of the text messages came across that, you know, it is possible that he was fearful of Jodi.
Diane?
I definitely feel that her demeanor and mannerisms came through and that people felt that. You know, kind of going back onto that verbal abuse, remember that some of the other factors that they looked at were that her age and no criminal history, and those were important to them. So even though we or I saw it and Tara saw it, many times other people don't see those things.
Let me show you. I'm going to show you guys now a tape of the police speaking to Jodi's dad. Now, I know you didn't see any of the interrogation tapes, but you've seen some of the mother's tapes since the trial. You've not seen this particular tape of the dad, so let's listen to what he says.
The only thing I don't have is why. Why she committed this.
I know, man. She was getting along with him so good. That day, I called her, and she couldn't even talk, and I go, what's going on? She goes, Travis was murdered.
Michelle, I'd flush it out a little bit for the jurors, to what we saw, which is that the dad sort of relating to the daughter having a real serious deficit, and then him seeming to be kind of cold also. What did you see there?
Right. Well, you see that kind of callous, lack of emotion at the very minimum. And I'm looking at that thinking, well, your daughter's a little psychopathic and doesn't have great emotional connection, and maybe he doesn't either. He doesn't seem to be in disbelief over this. He seems like, oh, wow, yeah, gosh, looks like somebody was murdered. Maybe Jodi did it. That, to me, is so telling.
Diane, do you have a reaction to that tape?
I could definitely see that no remorse there. And that did hit me, and it's of concern to me. Maybe that's part of her family. I don't know.
It does. Psychopathy has a genetic basis to it. Jenny, you have a question?
Well, I did. It was sort of what Mark's question before was what I was thinking about. But to take it one step further regarding the abuse that the 4 jurors thought happened, that I definitely don't think happened, was any of it tied to the sexual stuff and the sexual content of the texting and the recorded voicemails and conversation?
Either of you?
I think the majority of it was tied to the text, some of the emails, some of just the barbs that went back and forth. Also, her description about how Travis essentially forced her to have sex, but yet she said she liked to have sex. And they only heard part of it, and that's what they heard. That was the most important element, and their perception and their feelings of her. And I guess you have to respect that. I don't understand that.
Tara, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. As far as going back to her dad's video, yeah, you can definitely see no remorse. And if you compare her mom's video to her dad's video, it's totally opposite. Her mom didn't seem really that surprised, I don't think, but she seemed a lot more emotional than her dad did. Her dad didn't seem like he was really surprised at all.